Good evening, everyone. I can see one of our mentors on the call. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, thank you. I can see Mr. Shei is on the call. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for joining us today.
Right.
So, as we all know, today is week 5, of the Gypsy Mentorship and Internship Program on Entertainment, Business, and Law. And our topic for today is photography and visual art work as it relates to entertainment, business, and law. And we'll be having two mentors with us today. Ms. Onajite Oluwafunke Odiete and Mr. Oluwaseyi Arowosebe, who is already on the call. My name is Hussein Mahadi, and I will be the moderator for today's session. Quickly, I'll be taking announcements of reading our mentors profile, while I'm also reminding everyone that we are still taking in mentees to register for the next quarter of the program, as well as you can always reach out if you want to have a private one-on-one session with any of your favorite mentor. Permit me to share my screen while I read out our mentors profile. So our first mentor for today is Mr. Oluwaseyi Arowosebe. She is the principal partner at the Lex Consult, a corporate and intellectual property law firm based in Abuja, Nigeria, serving clients cross-country and globally. The firm has advised hundreds of clients in the formation and maintenance of corporate entities, and also safeguarding the intellectual property of individuals and corporate entities. He is a facilitator at the Intellectual Property Institute in Nigeria, where he teaches trademark and copyright. She holds a Master's of Law degree in Intellectual Property Law and Policy. He is also an alumnus of the prestigious Lagos Business School. Welcome to the call, Mr. Oluwaseyi, and thank you for joining us today. Our second mentor for today is Ms. Onajite Oluwafunke Odiete. Is a film and TV business executive and entertainment lawyer, experienced in content, licensing, acquisition, and distribution of film and TV programming for exploitation of rights by various on-demand and pay TV platforms. She runs Legal Plugs, a consultancy firm where she specializes in providing tailored legal solutions exclusively for creators such as music artists, fashion designers, writers, or content creators. Our mission is to protect your creative endeavors and empower you with the knowledge and support you need to thrive. Ms. Onajite has had an impressive track record as a legal and business leader in media, film, and TV. She has helped supervise several short films and theatrical productions, such as Balls, Gracie, the one for Sarah, EJ, and the upcoming feature film, The Weekend and Kilometer 17. She started her career in distribution as a content acquisition intern at Premium Box Office TV, and now currently works at Creo Studio as a legal executive for the company. Thank you very much for joining us today also, Ms. Onajite. I'll be moving on to calling our mentors on the call to give us an overview of the topic. And I'll be starting with our first mentor on the call, Mr. Shei.
All right, many thanks again for having me. Good evening, mentees. Many thanks to Gypsy for this initiative. It's a lot of work that you're doing. All right, so our conversation tonight, no matter how far or how short we go, we're going to be talking about copyright, and we'll talk about photography, talking about visual artworks, we're talking about copyright. That's an arm of intellectual property as a whole. I want to also believe at this point that you have some basic knowledge or background knowledge of copyright to an extent. So it might be boring to you now for me to start defining copyright again. There. So forms of copyright are literary works, artistic works, music, sound recording, broadcast, and other. But today we're particular about photography and visual arts. And then we're under this sub theme of entertainment and business law. So whatever we're doing too, there is a business angle to it. So it is not just for the fun of it to take pictures and move. So there is the business angle to it. So the first thing I like to establish, which is a chance that you also know, is that when a photograph is taken by an artist, and that photograph, so somebody is behind the shutter of the camera, somebody takes that picture, there is copyright in that picture. You may go to the next step of publishing it on a medium, having it published somewhere. There is copyright in that picture, and the owner of the copyright there is the person who actually took the photograph. Now this is dicey. Let's take for example, you engage a photographer to take pictures at your wedding. It will shock you to know that in the law of copyright, the primary owner of copyright in those pictures is the photographer. So the only way you can ensure that does not happen is to go into a contractual agreement in writing with that photographer, to the extent that any pictures that are taken at your wedding, copyright in them would revolve, will reside in you, the celebrant. But if there is no such agreement, please, you've just given the photographer some rights over those pictures. Of course, there is a place of image rights. You are the object of that picture, and then you have some rights also. But somebody has copyright. Somebody has copyright in the pictures. So a way to ensure that you address that is to ensure that anybody you are engaging for photography work, for 30 minutes, for 1 hour, it is always good to have an agreement with them, so that there is no I didn't know, there is no I wish I had entered an agreement with you before I engaged you for this business. So don't just engage somebody to take your pictures, to record your videos of your events, document them in writing, have it signed, sealed, and delivered. All right. I intend to say much more after each of you's presentation, the two groups, but I also want to quickly respond to the questions that were sent earlier, as regarding legal considerations that photographers and visual artists need to keep in mind when photographing or creating artwork in public spaces. I think this one is quite straightforward. If you go to a public space where you don't have total control, where you don't have exclusive access or rights, so there is a need for a photographer to ask questions. Is there any agency? Is there anyone who needs to grant consent? Or so is there a place where licenses ought to be obtained before I start shooting my camera? For example, you just go to Times Square in London, and then you start recording videos, you start taking pictures of the artifacts that are there. There's a chance that you can be asked questions by the police or any other law enforcement agent around the place. So it is good to always make findings, ask questions. Do we need to obtain license? It could be paid license, it could be free, it could be maybe license for 2 hours, for 3 hours, how long one has to spare in such places. So there is need to respect the right of everyone in the public. That is the next thing. You don't just go to the public space taking photographs of people. There is a trending case, I think just 2 days ago, I saw that on Instagram. A lady took pictures or recorded videos of some clients who came to business premises. Yes, a club in Lagos. she was picked up, and of course it was a rough scene, and eventually police was involved, and Alant was almost getting to court, but of course pleadings had to be done. We begged, and she was forgiven. So you don't just go to public places and start taking pictures, recording videos of people in the public. So there's need to respect the right of everyone. And so the way copyright law comes to apply to photographs now is what I started with. I think the fact that copyright is automatic as long as you adhere to the basic principles of originality, principles of fixation. So if the photograph is an original work of an artist or a photographer, and then it is fixed in a definite medium, we can feel it. So it is not just it is not an idea in your head. You've taken the picture and then you've published it somewhere. We can see it. We know that this is your work. You've even gone to the extent of probably publishing on Instagram, on your IG handle, on your Twitter, on your blog, on a medium. So the idea is you want to see that this work was put out there by somebody, and that work enjoys copyright protection. So you don't even need to. You're not bound to go to the Copyright Commission to register that work before it enjoys copyright protection. However, if you feel strongly that this particular photograph or visual work is going to go, it's going to blow, you just have that feeling. So you can take the extra step of approaching the Copyright Commission. But how many of your photographs are you going to, register at the Copyright Commission? And that is where copyright the regime is quite friendly compared to trademarks and industrial design and patents, where registration is almost important, like almost compulsory. But for trademarks, there are still ways you can enforce your right if you're not registered. But we're not doing that today. Today is for copyright. All right. So are there any restrictions or limitations on photographing or creating artwork of copyrighted materials such as buildings, sculptures? Yeah, I also said this in passing. You're going to take pictures of public places, places where you don't have total control, places where you don't have exclusive right to do. There is need to ask questions and find out who you should meet to obtain consent before you do that. Now, speaking about laws that photographers and visual artists should be aware of when capturing images of individuals in their work. I think I have about 4 of such laws here listed. The first one is Constitution. That's the Constitution of Nigeria, 1999. That 7th section there talks about the right to privacy of everyone. So you don't just barge into people's privacy and invading on them and start doing what they wouldn't have loved you to do. So if they grant consent for you to take the photographs, for you to record them, that can happen. But if there's no consent, please avoid it. It can be sued. Yes, the next is Nigerian Data Protection Act of 2023. This is a recent law, and it is really, really heavy on protecting the data of Nigerians. So if you're going to do anything with anybody's data, you need consent. If you go to part 5, section 24, 27, speaks about consent, obtaining consent. And I want to go further by saying this consent may be withdrawn. So at any point where that consent is withdrawn, you also must cease to carry out whatever activity you are doing in the space of that person. The next there is the Cybercrime Act. Here, of course, invading in people's privacy doesn't have to be physical alone. There are people who go online to do phishing emails, to do various things, attacking people online. The Cybercrime Act would come in to deal with such persons. So it is important that everyone maintains decorum, when entering into the spaces of other people, because where your own right ends, another person's right starts. So you don't have all of them to yourself. And then the last I mentioned here is the ground of copyright. That is the Copyright Act of 2022. It guides everyone to the extent at which we can record content, create content, and then ownership also, of course, is part of what we're doing here. So the business angle that I mentioned earlier, let me try and expand it a little. When photograph is taken by an artist, for example, I said it that it is a person behind a shutter of the camera that has copyright in that work. But if somebody engages you to take pictures the business comes in now in such a way that you enter the necessary agreement with them. Bear in mind that it is business, and then you must treat every engagement of a photographer as a business, so that nobody is found wanting, nobody runs foul of the law. All right, I'd like to pause at this point so that the next mentor can come in, and then we'll take the presentations, and then we'll come back later to give feedbacks and then take other questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shea, for that very, very detailed introduction to the topic. We don't have our second mentor on the call yet, but we still await her to join the call very soon. So I believe we have two groups on the call, Group 1 and Group 2. I encourage Group 1 Group 1 presenter to turn on share your screen and unmute yourself and start your presentation. Kindly note that you have 15 minutes to make your presentation before Group 2 presenter starts. Presenter for Group 1, are you ready? If you don't have presenter for Group 1, I think the backup presenter can take over. Backup presenter or any group member from Group 1. Okay, Mr. Dennis, please kindly help me reach out to Group 1 members to know why they are not coming up to present. While we are waiting for them, Group 2 can jump in now. Do you have a presenter for Group 2 ready?
Yes.
Okay. You have 15 minutes.
Okay, I don't know how to share my screen. If you can help me with that.
Okay, just give me a moment. Let me go to your group and check for the PowerPoint presentation. You can start your presentation.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Ezobi Angozika, and on behalf of Group 2, I'll be presenting our assignment. So we were asked to research on derivative works from pictures and visual arts, image rights, artificial intelligence and artworks, income streams and royalties, as well as infringement and enforcement and contracts on photography. So starting with the first one, which is derivative work from pictures and artwork. So first and foremost, what is a derivative work? A derivative work is a work which is based upon one or more than one pre-existing work. This could either be a translation or musical arrangement or a dramatization or any other form of art in which a work may be recasted or adapted. So it is that work which is based on, as the name implies, is based on that which is derived from an already existing work. So in the context of art, we say that derivative work is new creations which get their inspiration from already existing photographs or artworks. The second one is image rights. So image rights can be defined as, or it refers to a person's rights against misappropriation on his name, likeness, his physical appearance, or his personal slogan. Um, what this means is that an image right is that type of right that protects an individual, and like it protects an individual and their privacy. In our 1999 Constitution, Section 37, it provides for the rights of every Nigerian to have privacy in their day-to-day lives. So the image right now, it entails that a person's personality or his image, that person has a right to maintain privacy of his image and whatnot. The third one, okay. The third one is artificial intelligence and artwork. I don't know. Please, can you hear me? Let me not be talking to myself.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Artificial intelligence, that is the third one. So, artificial intelligence, we see that AI is now taking over various industries all around the world. We see it in our music industry, in our educational sector, as well as our arts industry. So, what is AI generated art? Apparently, it is a genre of art which is created with the assistance of artificial intelligence algorithm. So, in our country today, we see the use of AI even in real time. Like, for example, now there is this type of AI trend that is going around whereby it takes your picture and it creates a whole new photograph. Like, you can see yourself in an engineer's attire or a doctor's attire or even a law attire, or you could also see yourself in another country with the use of AI. So now, bringing AI and artworks together, we now find out that, or we now see that artists, they implement AI tools to generate innovative, never before seen type of artwork. So in a way, with the help of AI now, artists have now been able to find different array of styles and techniques that were not known to them before. They have different styles that they can choose from, and they have so many options that they can explore from. AI in the world of artworks, it's a good thing because it pushes the boundaries of traditional arts. It pushes the boundaries of traditional arts by using technology to create these various forms of artwork, which is good. So the next one that we are going to look at is how do photographers, artists, how do they make their money? That is income streams and royalties. So there's so many ways in which a photographer can make his or her money. Number one, I'll be mentioning a few of them. So the first one is digital products. A photographer can make his money by selling digital products such as ebook. He can sell a digital, sorry, he can sell an ebook on how to become a photographer in 1 week, how to become an expert in photography. He can sell online courses whereby he teaches other interested people on how to go about photography. Then also on digital products, a photographer can also make his revenue or income by selling software. Software in the sense that he can create a type of filter. Since he is a photographer, there are different styles and techniques which he uses. So he can sell his software of filters. Like if you go on YouTube to check for how to edit pictures, you see all these Adobe Photoshop photographers. They usually sell their filters to interested buyers. So this is a way whereby they can make money. Then another way in which a photographer can make money, that is his income streams and royalty, is through business ownership. So photographers, but business ownership in the sense that when they go out for say in Nigeria now, when there is an occasion, a graduation ceremony going on or a wedding ceremony, any type of occasion, we always see photographers there. This is a way whereby they can make money. They go there with their cameras and they take good pictures. They show it to the people that they've taken their pictures. And if you are interested in buying, you pay them to collect your picture. This is a way whereby photographers can make money as they are involved in the day-to-day activities of photography. Another way he can make his money, or another income stream, is through print on demand. So a photographer can generate revenue or income by selling products online. He can make custom products. This does not only like is not only restricted to photographers, even artists can make custom designs and then paste them on t-shirts, mugs, phone cases, and then sell it to people that are in demand for it. Like if you go to Shopify, you see tote bag, a blank tote bag bar, then you that is buying it, you the consumer that is buying that tote bag, you will now reach out to the person that is selling the tote bag and then tell them the kind of artwork you want them to put on that tote bag, or the kind of artwork you want to be on that mug or on your phone case. And the photographer
I'm sorry, please, we cannot hear you again. Please, can you unmute?
Jesus. This is myself. Shiva. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Where did I where did you stop hearing me from so I can come again?
Just like a few sentences ago, where you were talking about tote bag and the person who wants to, like, the person who purchase it can send like his own style or something like.
Okay. That's all on print on demand, basically. So moving on is the next one is infringement and enforcement. So infringement and enforcement entails the goals and the objective of a copyright. In enforcement of copyright is done so as to safeguard the private ownership of that photograph or artwork of the photographer, like to protect the rights of that picture that was taken. So, Jesus.
Sorry, please, we can't hear you again.
Okay, sorry. I was saying that infringement and enforcement, that the goal and objective of a copyright is to safeguard the private ownership or the rights of the photographer, in the sense that the pictures or the artworks that an artist or a photographer created, like he is the owner of those pictures, irrespective of what um irrespective of what was in the picture, basically. So section 10 of the Copyright Act of 2023, it's it protects artistic work from unauthorized use. It protects the artist's rights from other people copywriting or copying his idea without his permission. So despite the fact that photographs are now available online, like we can see them with just browsing on different types of photos, we can see them now available online. Under the copyright law bar, unless the photographer explicitly stated that you can use these works freely, it is assumed that those images that are online, that they are protected by copyright. Like, okay, for example, when we are watching some, let me use videos as an example. Say you're watching a YouTube video about another video talking about something, you would usually see this video is protected under the copyright act of so and so. So the reason why they will first of all tell you that this video is protected under copyright is so that it will not be as if they are taking the original's owner work and making it look like their own, when that is not the case. So the same goes for photography. So now we have the last one is contracts in photography. So, but as a photographer, having a photography contract for your clients is very much essential. Your photography contracts, it should cover basically all that is going to happen during the span of your relationship with your client, of your business relationship with your client. It should state the time, the circumstances that are likely to happen during the events when you are filming. So I'll be explaining a few of them because of time. So your photography contract should contain, number one, parties to a contract. That is the first and foremost thing that it should contain. So your parties to a contract bar, in this section, your photography contract should state who is your client and who are you being the photographer. It should state your roles and your responsibilities, as well as your client's information and your own information. So for example, now, if your photography business is a corporation or it's a company that you have registered and gotten your LLC, instead of writing your name as a party in that contract, you are advised that you write your business name in your contract. The second one is, in your photography contract, it should state this scope and the schedule. So it is important that in your contracts, you are stating the type of business that you are going to be offering or providing to your clients, so that your client knows what he is employing you to do. Your contract should state your schedule, when you are available, the time which your services start and when your services end. And the photographer should also have in mind to state what he intends to shoot. so that you don't lead your clients blindly, or you don't make your clients to follow you blindly into your photography process and whatnot. So this is so that everybody now knows what to do. The photographer knows what to do because his own rules has been stated. Your client knows what to do, and when they are expected to do what they're supposed to do, as well as the activities and where such activities is going to happen. Everything must be stated under your scope and schedule. So the third one is post-production and photo editing. So as a photographer, you ought to state in your contract the type of editing work that you will be providing. You should state the type of edits that your client is likely to see when they look at your photograph that you've taken. Then your client is also under this post-production and photo editing. Your client now either has the permission from you to do whatever he wants to do with the images that he has received from you. But when I was checking for it, they were like, it's advisable that you limit your client's rights to, or your client's ability, that you should limit your client's ability to edit your photos. Like, say you did a birthday shoot, you did a birthday shoot photograph for somebody, and then you send it to the person, like after everything, you've taken the pictures, you sent your photographs to them, and somehow your client is dissatisfied with what you've done, and either she wants to change the filter, or she wants to change the color of her hair, or she wants to put some sparkles on her dresses. um it is advisable that you restrict your clients from doing so, so as to not infringe on your copyright as the original owner of that photograph. So also, in your contract, in your photography contract, you should state your fees and your remuneration. You should basically
Your time is up. Sorry to interrupt. So just quickly round up. Thank you.
okay. So for your fees and remuneration, you should state how much you would be charging, and also the cost of cancellation fees, the cost of production fees, and all those stuff, so that when you send your clients your invoice, they are not caught unawares about the amount of money that they are expected to pay for your work. So thank you very much for your time. Bye bye.
All right. Thank you very much, group 2 presenter, for that presentation. I believe our mentor would have more comments and correction to make on the presentation. While we are calling on group 1 presenter. Group 1 presenter chatted me just now and said he's on transit, but he informed the backup presenter. So we are expecting the backup presenter to take the presentation on behalf of group 1. Backup presenter, do we have you on the call? Mr. Dennis, please, can you help out here? Could you reach out to the group and to know why we don't have a presenter?
I have, and the backup presenter seems to be having network issues, so that's the problem she's having. It's logging out, and she's logging, the network is logging out of.
Okay. I'll be giving the floor back to Mr. Sheyi to give us comments on the PowerPoint presentation that was made by Group 2. While we are still waiting for Group 1, please, any of the Group 1 member that is available and wants to present, kindly indicate so that we call on you to make the presentation on behalf of your group. The floor is yours, Mr. Sheyi.
All right. Many thanks again for having me, and thanks to Group 2 for their presentation. I'm sorry, I'm not able to share my video. It is past working hours for me. I'm already in my comfort zone. All right. Let us speak to what we appreciate about the presentation. I saw that the presenter was able to marry the business angle of photographs and together. Okay, so she brought in the angle of having to establish a written contract between photographer and the client and then went into details of what she specified that contract. That is impressive. Then I think initially too, she mentioned about the automatic protection, which I mentioned at the beginning of my intervention at that time. As soon as that photograph is published in a medium, you have protection already by way of copyright. Then I also heard the infusion of AI with IP. That was interesting. So my query there is that what is the how do we draw the line now between using AI to create images and infringement on image rights, for example? So do I need to engage you to create images of me by artificial intelligence before you can do that, or anybody can just jump on my picture on social media and then create an AI version of it? So these are some of the issues I thought would be addressed in the presentation. Before you pick up on somebody's image to convert to AI images, there is need to obtain consent from them. That is an invasion of privacy, image right, and all that. So move on now to the presentation skills generally. I don't know. It looked as if a presenter was not hoping to present today, and just the work just stops on her desk that she had to do it. And in the first place, the PowerPoint presentation was jam-packed. I expected that you just give summary of what you want to talk about, and then you speak to them. The essence of doing PowerPoint slides is to guide the presenter about what they're talking about. So you don't need to put the entire prose of your presentation to the slide. So in that sense, you're not bound to read what you are presenting. The topic should be there, the pointers should be there to guide you, and then you speak to them. Because I believe strongly that whoever is making the presentation participated in the research that led to that presentation. So it is often out of place to copy long proses into presentation, and then presenter need to work on our skills. There were still very many interjections, side languages, side talk, using by when you're presenting. I think we should be more professional in our presentations. Very important. I believe strongly that you do better in your next opportunity to make a presentation of this nature. Many thanks. I look forward to questions and to the second presentation.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Sherry, for that comment on the presentation. I personally myself, I also noticed that the way the presenter was presenting, as if she was not prepared to make the presentation. So please, our presenters on other sessions should always take note of that. Not necessarily only JIIPC meetings. Wherever you are having you don't know where you find yourself tomorrow. If you are having a conference where you are supposed to make a big presentation, you have to be prepared for your presentations. You have to speak to your presentation as you present. So you just make the slides short, like our mentor says, so that you do more of the talking than what's on the screen. So thank you very much for coming out. I will still use this opportunity to call on Group 1 for the very last time. If we have a presenter for Group 1 that is ready to make a presentation on behalf of the group before we move into the question and answer session. Okay, I can't see any reaction, so I just take it that Group 1 has failed to make their presentation today. We'll be moving on to the question and answer session, but we can start with live questions. I know our mentor on the call has already done justice to some of our questions, but we still just I'll just ask the other questions as he answers them. Okay, sir. Question number 3 says, are there any restrictions or limitation on photographing or creating artwork of copyrighted materials, such as buildings, sculptures, or branded objects?
Yes, there are limitations. When you go to a fully furnished place, for example, to record content, there is need to ask the owners of the place before you start taking your videos, before you start taking your pictures. For example, I know that one of the exceptions of copyright infringement is fair dealing. And fair dealing has many divisions. Fair dealing has to do with, making use of that copyright content for research. There is the pastiche, there is the parody, there is criticism, and then there is accidental inclusion of the artwork now in a video recording. But in this case, if a photographer intentionally carries his camera or his video recorder to go and record, to take pictures of buildings, it is a deliberate action. So there is need to obtain consent. There is need to ask questions. There is need to know who is in charge, who is responsible for granting such licenses. So don't just assume that it's a public place. Public places are also guided by laws, and you could be held liable in fines, in damages, and in worst case scenario, in criminal law. I know countries where as soon as you're stepping into them, you are being profiled. In fact, you see warnings: do not take pictures. I think I saw a movie recently, and as this man was being checked at the airport, he was told, do not take pictures with your smartphone. That is the instruction. That is the warning. And then they have CCTV cameras watching over everybody. So if you go outside those instructions, you could be found guilty of a crime. So beyond the civil wrong, beyond the damages that may be accrued, you can also be held liable to 3 months to 6 months imprisonment. So it's important to ask questions when you go to public places before you take pictures. Yes.
All right, thank you very much, sir. I can see someone is raising their hand, but on your group Zoom name, it says iPhone. Kindly do all to rename your Zoom, and also you can ask your question.
Okay, my question is based on something that was said by the two presenters about image rights. So that the photographer, okay, like terms of a photographic contract, that the photographer has the right to limit the extent to which a client uses their photo. So my question is, to the mentor, is that don't you think that they both have an extent of copyright ownership in that particular photo? Yes, the photographer took the picture, but at the same time, the picture is, let's say, a picture of me. So I should have an equal right of how I want to use my picture as much as he does.
All right, that is a brilliant question, I must say. So at the point of engaging a photographer, I believe strongly that it is even the client now, the person in the image, that has the upper hand, because you can negotiate to any length. You can negotiate to the point of taking all the rights in those pictures as long as you pay the photographer handsomely. That is the way forward. I wouldn't expect that celebrities would engage photographers, and then photographers would have a upper hand over them. If you pay a photographer well, he will be glad to sign off everything. But there's one right you cannot take away from anybody who wants copyright in a picture, in an image, in a photograph, and that is moral rights. You know, the right to be known and addressed as the author of that work at all times. So you can't take that away from the photographer. So if a photographer chooses or of course chooses to have his watermark, his brand name, his watermark on the picture, so be it. That is a way to show that truly this person snapped this picture. I give an example of 2024 in Abuja. So if you go to the lab of 2024 to take pictures, when they are sending you the soft copies, you will see their watermark Studio 24 on the image. Even though you paid for the picture, you engaged them, you paid for it, but the watermark will be there. And at all times, when you share that image, it's expected that you have their watermark on it. It's a way to showcase their work to the public, and they are the author. They retain that right. So even though you paid for the pictures, somebody owns some other rights in that picture. Now, so for somebody snapping you and then you guys are negotiating rights, you cannot post my picture anyhow, a contract will take care of all of these things. Don't forget that, of course, the two of them have rights, but a properly negotiated contract is what is needed here. Parties sit down and agree on what works for them. And as soon as they agree on what works for them, money exchange hands, signed, documents are signed and sealed, so be it. So it is what you agree on eventually that you sign. There is no hard and fast rule to a photographer's agreement. The client may decide to have the upper hand by paying well. The photographer might decide to have the upper hand because maybe he felt it's not handsomely paid, so I should retain most of the rights in these pictures. So it's about negotiation, it's about money exchanging hands, and then everybody smiling to the bank or agreeing with whatever terms they go with.
All right. I hope that answers your question, so that we can move on to our next question. Okay. So I see a new question on the chat box. It says, "Is the work of paparazzi and infringement on celebrities' image rights?"
All right. So the answer to this may be yes and no. It is yes if such paparazzi are not licensed to cover such event, but it's a no if you go through the proper channel to get accredited to come and capture the event. I give example of for photographers in football stadiums. If you watch World Cup, if you watch major competitions, apart from Premiership, of course, Spanish La Liga, and like, but if you watch World Cup very well, or African Nations Cup, you will discover that there are several photographers on the lines. Each of these guys are licensed, they are engaged for that work. So Messi, for example, cannot stop a photographer in a stadium covering a World Cup match because he feels his image right is a risk. So such photographers must have gone through the right channels to be accredited before they can cover events of that nature. For example, I expect that every photographer on the walkway where they're doing exhibitions would have been accredited. So it is a no to the extent that paparazzis get licensed before they unleash themselves on celebrities to take pictures of them, either at an event, in an enclosed area where there is, of course, where there's an event. Yeah, I hope that answers the question.
All right, thank you very much, sir. I'll be taking the next question. What are the privacy laws that photographers and visual artists should be aware of when capturing image of individual in their works?
Okay, I think I mentioned this earlier, but let me just recap. There is a Nigerian Data Protection Act of 2023, particularly Part 5, Sections 24, 27. This would guide a photographer. For the Constitution of Nigeria is there, 1999. Section 7 talks about the privacy of everyone. So you don't just invade on people's privacies and start taking pictures of them, start accessing their data without authorization. There is the Cybercrime Act, 2023 is recent. There is the Copyright Act of 2022, which is the latest enactment on copyright in Nigeria. So these four are pretty important, and they will guide on the subject matter.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Okay, I think that's you've taken other questions. That's all the questions we have so far. I'm still encouraging our mentees to ask more questions. And I don't know if any group member from Group 1 has decided to make the PowerPoint presentation on behalf of Group 1 now. Okay, for those of us that can turn on our videos, I encourage that you put on your videos while we take screenshots of our beautiful and handsome faces on the call today for our social media posts. Kindly do well to turn on your video and smile for the camera. Hi, Ombari, thank you, but your room is very dark. No one is turning on their videos. It's only the moderator and Mr. Dennis. Please, I encourage everyone to turn on your videos. Turn on your videos. We are waiting for your videos. Thank you very much, Ayobami. Oh, sorry, Ayotola. Ayotola, sorry. Oluwa Bukumi Abraham. LC Victor. Thank you. Okay, unfortunately, our mentor cannot turn on his video, but nevertheless, we thank you very much for coming here today on this call, moderating, mentoring us on the topic, answering our questions also. Thank you very much, sir. What did you say? All right. Once again, Mr. Shei, thank you very much for today. We look forward to having you on other sessions. Thank you very much, the whole Group 2 members, for coming up with the PowerPoint presentation and also presenting. I can't say the same for Group 1 since no one is ready to present on behalf of Group 1. If I will be grading the groups for the week, I'll be giving Group 2 100 over 100 and Group 1 okay, they submitted their PowerPoint presentation. So I'll be giving Group 1 30 over 100. So take note of that, and please, you guys should do better on your PowerPoint presentations and who is presenting. And everyone on the group should always be ready to make presentations if the presenter is not available. Please take note of that. And for Group 2 members, I believe we all heard what our mentors say with regards to his comments on your PowerPoint presentation. So I believe we can all do better in our next presentation. Thanks everyone for coming jumping on the call today. I hope we all learned something new, and I hope our questions are answered correctly. If anyone still have any question on the topic, you can reach out to Mr. Dennis. You can send the message on the group while we forward it to our mentor to get give you his answer to the question. So thank you very much once again, everyone, and have a good evening.